Oklahoma versus Texas. Dallas, Texas, 11 a.m. kickoff, which is expected. College game day is going to be there. Oklahoma comes out as a 3.5-point favorite as of now. Today is Wednesday. Emerson, quick question for you. Before we start, what do you like the best about this rivalry? What makes this rivalry, in your opinion, the best in college football?
That's a great question because there's so many aspects of this game that make it unique. And I will say I do agree with you that it is the best rivalry in college football.
Most definitely.
And yes, I think it's better than Alabama-Auburn. I think it's better than the game between Ohio State and Michigan. And I'll tell you why. So, all-time meetings between Oklahoma and Texas is only one fewer than all-time meetings between Ohio State and Michigan. And the total record between the two rivals for Red River rivalry, Texas leads the series 62-49, so Oklahoma's down by 13 games right now. And I think with Michigan, Ohio State, it's I think Michigan leads it by almost 20 or 30. So there's a larger margin of dominance in the Michigan-Ohio State series. And they've had longer win streaks in those. So I think the Red River rivalry is just a lot more competitive. It's one of the only rivalries in the country that's played at a neutral site every
50-50.
Single year.
Split it down the middle.
Yeah, split right down the middle. Yeah. So that's why I think it's the best rivalry in college football. And then, what was your other question? I'm sorry.
What do you think is special about it? How'd you get drawn into it? What's your favorite memory? Just whatever.
Well, I remember when I first became an OU fan, and it was Sam Bradford's 08 year, or the 08 year when Sam Bradford won the Heisman. And then everyone remembers 45-35, that
we did have a 14-3 lead. We had Danny Johnson, Joaquin Iglesias, Jermaine Gresham. We had Ryan Broyles that year.
DeMarco Murray, Chris Brown, Phil Lodeholt, not Tyrese Robinson. I can't remember the left guard's name, but he was a stud too.
Duke Robinson.
Yeah, that team was stacked. Gerald McCoy. Yeah.
It was
stacked.
It was 14-3, and then Shipley took that kick return.
That was our weakness that year.
Shipley was a stud.
It was just kickoff in general. That was
you wanted to slit your wrist every time it was a kickoff or special teams was on the field.
Yeah. Shipley was a stud. Shipley was the workhorse for that Texas offense.
Yeah.
Everyone thought it was Colt McCoy, but, I mean, dude, Jordan Shipley. Was his name Jordan? Shipley
Jordan
was.
Shipley. Jackson was the younger brother.
Yeah. Yeah, Jackson's the younger one. That's right. Yeah, Jordan Shipley, dude, he was a beast. He balled out. So, I mean, just with the 08 year, that being my first introduction to the series, I see the passion between the two fan bases, and I see the hate that comes, out before the game and after the game, and the entire year Texas brags. Texas Tech was College Game Day that year, a couple weeks later. And when you tuned into College Game Day, you saw 45-35 signs all over the place because that's the game that mattered. And that's always been the game that's mattered between these two teams. And, you see Oklahoma I see Oklahoma go to the national championship that year. And I see Texas lose to a very talented Texas Tech team that ended up getting trounced by Oklahoma. That was one of my favorite games of all time.
Sorry, Nick's playing some freaking videos.
The Texas Tech Oklahoma game,
and I can't hear what you're saying. Which one was your favorite one?
Unintentional.
Texas Tech.
When we curb stomped them.
Yeah, just destroyed them. And so, but what I'm saying is my first year, as a fan, really watching and following college football, I see Oklahoma and Texas duke it out in a fist fight, and then both teams become extremely relevant. Texas goes on to the national championship the next year. So you're looking at it and you're thinking, well, this is a matchup every year at a neutral site between two teams that at least have the potential to be contenders for the national championship every year. So, I mean, where else can you get a game like that that's been like that for,
And
the better part of 40 or
see,
50
I'm
years?
I'm kind of a traditional guy. You'll watch like Ohio State and Michigan play each other, and it irritates me when you see one of these teams come out with alternate unis. I hate that. When you have an old school rivalry, keep the traditional uniforms. If you notice, every year OU and Texas plays, they switch being the home team. I think they stay on the same side every year, don't they?
I'm not too sure, honestly.
I know.
That's a great question.
I know
don't know.
the end zones stay the same every year, but I don't know if they switch sides. I don't know. Somebody watching this can tell me. But like when Ohio State will come out in some alternate unis, that's so stupid. Now the Big 12 championship when we played them was a little different because that wasn't the Red River Shootout. That was a little different.
I was content with that.
I was
I was
too.
content with those uniforms.
I liked it when they rocked the roughneck unis for the Big 12
Exactly.
championship.
Nick, one of your favorite memories, the OU Texas game, and why do you think this is the best rivalry in college football, if not the best?
It's just always had a special place in my heart, as in watching this game every single year. I mean, as a kid, I was brainwashed to hate Texas, and I'm glad I was. But honestly, when there was those back-to-back years, I think it was 2011, 2012, when Oklahoma just beat the brakes off Texas.
Yeah.
And it was literally like everything was going our way, whether it was like a 95-yard run or
Dominic Whaley.
Trey Miller hurdling a guy and trucking a guy at the same exact time.
Yes.
Taking it for 50 yards.
Great
Yes.
play.
Just classics.
Yes.
And
that
Kenny
was in the
Stills.
Texas end zone, too.
Yeah, Kenny Stills just laying an absolute studly block for Damian Williams as he goes down the sideline. And, like you guys say, it's split 50-50, and the fans are passionate, and it doesn't matter how good or how bad your team is that year. You can
Most
still
of the
win
time.
the game.
Most of the time, yes, and lately, yes. Most of the time.
Well, I mean, think about it for Texas. From the past, 10, 15 years, sometimes they're not the best. They've dropped 2 games or so.
And they'll play us toe-to-toe.
And they win.
Yeah.
This year's going to be special, though. Texas is a really quality football team. They go get that Steve Sarkisian from Alabama. He's a really good play caller, fits the offensive scheme, with Bijan Robinson. I think it's going to be huge to stop him. He's going to be that guy, kind of like Deuce Vaughn last week. You stop Deuce Vaughn, that game's you're going to score 50 points. But yeah, this game's huge, and just a really good rivalry altogether, and super excited to see how this game plays out.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. So, we kind of got that out of the way. What are some initial thoughts of this game on Saturday, Emerson? What are you looking forward to the most? Just what are you thinking? Just off the top of your head, what are you thinking about this game?
Sure, right. I think the thing that I'm going to be most excited to see and focused on for this game
is Lee Corso's
is
pick.
Oklahoma's
is
defense.
Lee Corso's pick. That is what
No.
he's excited about. He's excited to see Lee Corso's pick at the end. He's excited, because in 2008 he shot the guns off and we lost. I'm just kidding. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Emerson. I apologize. That was rude of me.
No, you're good. It is funny. Like I think it's hilarious that real quick that College Game Day is at Red River this year, and all of the Iowa and Penn State fans are butthurt because it's a top.
Who cares?
5
The
matchup that they have
atmosphere
this week
is
or
so
whatever.
much better
Yeah.
in this game. I don't care what you think.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
atmosphere. It's all about the atmosphere and the tradition. Cool. You got 3 Penn State and 4 Iowa, or 3 Iowa and 4 Penn State. They're never.
It's going to be a snoozer. It's going to be 10-3.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly.
And yeah, exactly. So anyway, but what I'm most excited about is definitely seeing how the defensive front can handle Bijan Robinson. Oklahoma has not given up more than 100 yards rushing in a game yet this year. They've gotten close. They gave up exactly 100 yards to Tulane and Kansas State. So it's been close, but Bijan Robinson is definitely the best running back that they're going to see all year until arguably they get to Iowa State and Bruce Hall.
I was going to say that.
And yeah, you can take your pick. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. You've seen, the defensive line play well at times, but then, now you're without Jalen Redmond, right? And Perrion Winfrey is kind of cooled down a little bit. Isaiah Thomas is still playing great football. Nick Benito still playing great football. But really, the linebackers have struggled with, if you watch the game with Kansas State and Deuce Vaughn, they struggled with, maintaining him out of the backfield and minimizing those plays. So, like Nick said, they have a new offensive scheme with a new head coach, and they don't. This is going to be the first time in 5 meetings between Oklahoma and Texas that they don't have. I almost said Colt McCoy, Sam Ehlinger. So that's going to be really interesting because if you look at the game last year, if Sam Ehlinger can complete any pass farther than 15 yards, I think Texas wins that game. So, and now they have a quarterback in Casey Thompson who can kind of sling it, and he's been able to show that he can put up points and throw the ball down the field. So that's what I'm really looking forward to is if the defensive line can limit Bijan Robinson and hopefully get some pressure on a less mobile or less run-oriented quarterback in Casey Thompson.
Do you think this will be a low or high-scoring game or mid-scoring game?
I would say mid. I say both teams break into the 20s.
High 20s?
I don't think either of them eclipse 40. Yeah, 20s to 40, like
20, 30s?
Mid-20s to 30s.
Okay.
Yeah. Greater than 20, less than 40 for each.
All right. With that being said, Nick, some thoughts off the top of your head about this game.
What I want to see, what I'm excited to see so far is seeing if this offense can stay consistent. They looked pretty good last week against Kansas State. There's only one possession that they didn't score on, and there's a lot of different looks. I noticed, they're throwing the screen game early. They're running the ball with Kennedy Brooks, and that's kind of where I was at. I think if you're going to be successful in this offense, you need to get Kennedy Brooks going early in the game because he's such a physical runner. He's going to get those yards after contact. Obviously, the defense has a huge goal at hand, and that's stopping Bijan Robinson first because that's their bread and butter. That's what they're going to be going to. I just want to see this team kind of mesh together and really limit the mistakes because there's a lot of times where, it's going good for us and then, there's a unreasonable penalty or just mental errors that really come back and haunt us. So if we play sharp football, we play aware, I think we're gonna get the win. But if we look like we're not ready,
don't let your emotions control you because this is a very high emotional game every year.
If you're not there and mentally prepared for this game, they will drop it, and it could get bad for Oklahoma if they beat themselves because I guarantee Texas is going to be ready to go more than what they have been in the past 3 matchups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think, and I could be wrong, whatever. I think if Oklahoma lets their emotions get to them and they make those stupid penalties, I think Texas is going to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, they just got to stay sharp.
Yeah.
That's really the game plan. Don't beat yourself on Saturday.
Yeah. Nick, I know you're not feeling too high about this game. You got your, ups and downs.
I think it could go either way, and it really depends on which Oklahoma team shows up.
It does. It absolutely does.
Because if they want to play like the flashes that I've seen throughout this year, disregarding the Kansas State game, that offensive performance, I don't see them winning it.
If we can get the defense that we know can play at OU, and we can get that offense, dude, I'm telling you, if we can get the offense that showed up at K-State, that's all I'm asking. Because you know what? I know they're not even playing their potential even yet. They're a really good offense. If we can just get the K-State game offense and a good defense, I think Oklahoma can walk away with this.
There's also a huge difference between the Texas roster and the Kansas State roster. There's so many 4- and 5-star guys on this team, and they're all going to be ready, and they're all going to want to go out here and play this game. It's probably the biggest game of their careers, in all honesty. As in roster ranks in the Big 12, it's Oklahoma and it's Texas. Kansas State is not getting those 5-star guys like Texas. And Texas has had a top 10 recruiting class for, the last 5 years. Every time they're up there. They're even
Blue blood.
top 5.
They're blue blood.
They are. They're always going to be able to get those guys.
Yeah.
But it all depends on which Oklahoma team's showing up Saturday.
Yeah. And we like you covered, we all know Texas is going to show up.
They will.
They will show up. It's just, I don't know. 11 a.m. kickoff right after College Game Day on ABC. Emerson, do you see this game being close? Do you see this game? I mean, what? Dude,
So, you have, two very important positions that are now gone, or two very important players that are now gone to the NFL. So that'll be something to look at. But also, Steve Sarkisian, if you remember his days at Alabama and what he did with Najee Harris and how he got him involved and how he got him, balls out of the backfield. And he schemed up different running schemes for Najee Harris. Because he was one of their best athletes. And I think he's going to do he's been doing the exact same thing with Bijan Robinson. It's not like it was, under Tom Herman, where your best player on offense, no doubt about it, Bijan Robinson, is touching the ball 8 times a game. That's not what it's like anymore. He's getting the ball 30-plus times a game, Granted, not all of them are runs, but like I said, they're going to mix up how they distribute it. So that's really interesting to look at. I think that this game will be tight. I do. I think Texas wants to come in and get a win that they haven't gotten in a long time for a new coach, and Oklahoma they haven't prepared for this team yet. It's a totally different team than it was last year with the new head. They don't know nearly as much about their offense, and Texas could be saving a lot of stuff for this game too. So I think it'll be close. It'll be interesting to see how Oklahoma's offensive line plays. I saw Wanye Morris getting a lot more run last week at left tackle. So, hopefully they can, like Nick said, limit those mental errors and the offensive line can kind of gel. Because that's the thing. Every time Oklahoma looks like crap, the entirety of the beginning of the season until the Texas game. And in the Texas game, they either form together and everyone kind of gels and the team becomes really good and they launch from that point, or they lose and they kind of, there goes the season. So
okay,
that'll be interesting to look at.
I hate to compare this team to last year's Texas team, but you got to remember that there was no Ramondre Stevenson last year. There's no Ronnie Perkins last year. It's one of the craziest games I've ever seen in my life, and probably one of the most stressful as an OU fan.
That was stressful as shit.
Dropping 2 games before that, and knowing that
this is it, or all or nothing.
Yeah, with the expectation that they had last season, and then, going from a like, is this going to be the end of the OU dynasty? You know, that
Yeah.
was kind of going through my head. But we pull away.
We had a 2-touchdown lead with like 7 fucking minutes left in the
It
game.
was less than that.
Yeah.
It was less than that. It was about 5 minutes left.
Something.
In the game
Yeah.
With a possession.
Yes.
2 possessions in the ball.
Yes.
So.
Well, also
this
don't
game
forget,
is
Tom
crazy.
Herman could have ended that game on the 1-yard line by running the ball, but instead he went for the tie and kicked a field goal, and then we went into overtime. So I don't think Sarkisian will make that mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like anytime you're playing Oklahoma, you know, go for it all. Go for that 2-point conversion. Throw them off. Especially watching.
And I will say this. Sorry to cut you off, Nick, but Spencer Rattler and the offense cannot afford for him to get benched like he did last year.
No.
He needs to come out and play efficiently from the beginning of the game, or else it is not going to go well.
Well, I think
my
it's
opinion.
ultimately up to the O-line. It's
Yes,
going to be a
I
huge
agree.
battle, and they've got to stick it out this week because they cannot afford Spencer Rattler running backwards, running to his right, having pressure, you know, just getting thrown down and abused by the Texas D line because they're going to be coming for him.
And you know what? What you know, this could be a blessing or a curse, either way, however you look at it. Texas is sitting at 4-1. Okay, odds are Texas isn't going to make the college football playoff. Odds are. I'm not saying they won't, but odds are. Which also means Texas has nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. And you know how Oklahoma is every year. They have everything to lose. And you know how Lincoln Riley calls plays at times. He calls very, very, what do you call it? Conservative? Is that what you would describe it as? Not wanting to go for everything, kind of wanting to play it safe. So, you know, you could have Oklahoma playing it safe and doing well because everybody's focused in, or you could have them going for the full thing and fucking it up. So it really, you got to look. I mean,
Literally, everyone we've played this year has been going for it on 4th down.
yes, and
In the
that's
first-
what you
in
got to
the first
do.
possession of the game, they're going for it.
K-State went for it on
Yep.
4th and like 18 in their own territory, and
And they almost got it.
yeah, so that's
but
what you got to do.
The defense has to
K-State
step up.
converted 4 of 5 4th down attempts
Mm-hmm.
last week.
Yeah, and then the only
80%.
one that they didn't make is they dropped it. He dropped it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a catch. I thought that was the wrong call. They should have been 5 for 5.
Yeah.
Wow, he definitely
And-
dropped it, but the thought that it was such long down and distance and he was close to making that catch, you know, could have easily been 5 for 5. Could have even went on to win that game.
And is Woody Washington back yet? Or is he? I think he's still out. It's your best corner.
I don't know.
So
So with that being said, Emerson, give me a score and give me a winner.
I think I'm going to go 31-27. Sorry, 31-27 Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma ekes one out. They get a dub. I think the offensive line plays a little better. I think Lincoln Riley understands the importance of getting Kennedy Brooks going in the run game. And I think you can look at the game last week, and they rolled Spencer out a lot more. And they got him comfortable. They got him out where he's most comfortable, which is rolling out to his right. And so they're going to have more time to scheme that off offensively, obviously.
Is it a stressful game?
But yeah, like you said, you got to get the defense has to get off the field when it's 3rd and long. So that'll be my key to the game. But
Okay. Does the defense get any turnovers?
yeah, I think the defense has gotten a turnover in like the last 6 or 7 games straight, or something like that. I can't remember. But so yeah, I say give me 2 turnovers. Give me a fumble and an interception.
Okay. Nick. Honest. Don't bullshit us. You be honest, damn it.
It's gonna go one or two ways. It's gonna be a really close game, and it's going to be an OU victory. And give me my prediction, 28-24 Oklahoma.
Okay.
But if that's not the outcome, I see Texas winning by 2 possessions. It's not
Okay.
going to be 1. I think it's going to be 2. And I think it's because they're going to be coming in playing sharp. And if they win by 2 possessions or more, it's going to be Oklahoma not converting on turnovers. They're going to have penalties that are unnecessary. They're going to have mental errors, and Texas will dominate the line of scrimmage in that case. So if it's in Texas's favor, I think Oklahoma could lose by literally 14 points. I think it's going to be 10-14 Texas, or I think it's going to be about 3 to 7 points in Oklahoma's favor. And I don't know what Oklahoma team's going to show up. That's my problem. That's my problem I have with this game. It's because I've seen them play every single week, and it's been so tight. And
Stressful.
yeah, I haven't had a good feeling yet this season.
Nick's gotten about 4 different ulcers in his stomach
Basically,
from the 2021 season.
the one game I felt good about, to me, doesn't count. It doesn't count for the season. Yeah, they beat the brakes off of West Carolina 76-0.
Who cares?
That's literally about getting your second string guys progressed.
Okay.
Other than that, Oklahoma's got to show up to play today. Lincoln Riley's got to call his best game of the season. O-line's got to play their best game of the season. And if that doesn't happen, I see Oklahoma losing by 10 to 14 points.
Okay. My take on it before we wrap this up, we were initially going to do some score predictions, but I think we'll shoot a second video, pretty short video at the end for some score predictions if you three are okay with that. The video went a little bit longer than we thought, but it's the OU-Texas game, so, shit happens. But my thought is Texas is a little bit different than Oklahoma's other rivals. Okay, I hate Texas. I do. But I don't know if these two agree with me or not. At the end of the day, I do respect Texas. I respect the crap out of them. And the reason why is because of the entire conversation we've had this last 30 minutes. It's dog eat dog, tooth and nail, all that stuff. And this game matters every year. And Texas actually can beat Oklahoma here and there. They do beat Oklahoma here and there. And when they don't beat Oklahoma, they almost do. And that's the difference of respect I have between them and Oklahoma State. I fucking can't stand Oklahoma State. I can't stand them at all, because they talk so much shit and then they get their asses kicked by Oklahoma every year. But that's a different discussion for a different episode. So
you hate and don't respect Okie State. With Texas, you hate and at least respect them.
yes, does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah.
Tell me that makes sense.
That makes absolute sense.
Okay, so with
compare the all-time record with Texas v. Oklahoma and Oklahoma v. Oklahoma State.
Exactly.
You can't even compare it.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
This is also Texas is the only team that Oklahoma has a losing record against that they've played. Between teams that they've played like at least 10 times
regularly.
This is the only losing record that Oklahoma has in the country.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna go off what Nick said. I think Oklahoma will win this by maybe a possession if they're lucky, maybe 10 points. I see Oklahoma scoring mid-30s, so I'm gonna go maybe 35-36 to maybe 26, maybe 27.
So do you think that they're going to be shaped up and they're going to build up?
I think they will.
Last week?
I think they will. I think they're going to have – I think what they're going to do is I think they're going to build a good lead on Texas, but I think Texas is going to come back and make it a game in the end. I think that's what's going to happen.
What about mental errors and penalties?
I think Oklahoma's going to come out pretty sharp in the first quarter. I think they're going to look good for a quarter and a half, at least the first half. I think they're going to – maybe look good coming out of the third quarter. I think they're going to start slacking maybe late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and I think they might get their shit together in the end of the fourth quarter. That's what I'm thinking. So Alrighty. So, with that being said, closing statement, Emerson.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be
Closing statement.
it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a lot of fun. It all comes down to how the defense contains Bijan Robinson and how Spencer Rattler and the offensive line play. That's what I have.
Sounds good. Nick?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good, stressful ball game.
He's going to get his fifth ulcer.
I think Oklahoma just needs to play great disciplined football. I think Lincoln Riley's got to have the best play calling he's had this season, and I think it's going to come down to that. I think it's going to come down to O-line. I think it's going to come down to D-line, and it's going to come down to decision-making from all these players, whether it's discipline or just mentality. So
cool. This is make or break for Oklahoma 2021. Win, you continue, lose, you're looking at Big 12 championship this year. You can still, regardless of what happens, these two are probably going to play each other again. It's very possible, depending on what Oklahoma State does and Baylor. I think, never mind.
I think it's wide open right now, man.
I think
it's wide open. Doesn't matter who you are right now.
Absolutely. So this is Emerson. This is Nick. This is Taylor. Longhorn down.
Boomer Sooner!
Let's go. Boomer.
Hi, I'm Adam Murphy, director and producer of Sooner Saloon.
My name's Gabe Joyner. I'm the motherfucking sound guy.
And we would like to thank you for watching and want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe if you like our videos.
Go. Smash that like button. Destroy that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Go out there, kill it.
Cheers to that, bud.
Destroy. Subscribe. Destroy the like button.